again, all I hope is that this inspires just at least one person to start. I was unaware that this video would launch me into a whole new path in life. Hello, my name is Mitchell Lippiatt, and I'm a recent film school graduate from SAE here in Brisbane, Australia, and this is the channel where I'm documenting and vlogging my progress from complete beginner of VFX artist into hopefully an amateur then one day professional VFX artist. I'm using Blender and Unreal Engine, and these are the ones I'm starting off with at the moment because I've been loving them so much and so far. And also my progress from becoming an indie or a beginner filmmaker into one day a professional filmmaker, where I can actively be putting my work out there and have a great audience and see some success with that. So I know this video is probably a little bit early. This is only my 5th video on my YouTube channel, and here I am trying to talk about or inspire somebody to also start their journey or to also start their YouTube channel or whatever it could be. But as long as this inspires somebody, I don't mind. As long as it inspires one person, at least one person, then I'm completely happy. In my professional career, ever since I got out of high school, every job that I've had, I've now looked back on and realized that it's happened in pretty much the perfect order. We grew up in the country, and when we're growing up in the country, a lot of the jobs that are out there are very straightforward. You know, your tradies, your going to uni and getting an accountant job or whatever it could be. Like whatever your straightforward jobs are, that was what the jobs were out there. And I always knew growing up that I just loved filmmaking. I loved films, and I loved everything about it. And I always wanted to be a director my whole life. But then growing up, I was like, oh, it doesn't really happen to people like me. It doesn't really happen to my sort of, spaces or social circles. It only ever happens to someone else. And that was pretty much my belief. So when I got out of high school, I jumped into a butchering apprenticeship. So I needed to go and get a job after high school, and butchering was there. So I did butchering for 8 years. Now with butchering, I learned so much. It was hard, it was tough. Did I love it? Yes and no. But at the same time, it taught me a great deal about work ethic and having tough skin and dealing with hazing and a lot of that sort of stuff. So it was good to have as my first introduction to the workforce experience and to get a trade and go from there. But I always knew that this wasn't something I wanted to stick with forever. I knew that I definitely was just going to be there until I figured out what I wanted next, and that would be it. Throughout my entire butchering career, I was training all the time. I was always active in training. I even played football, as you can see in the thumbnail. I didn't have a picture of me butchering. Also, I don't want to show a picture of me butchering because I don't want it to be upsetting to anybody. But at the same time, I was like, cool, I'll put this football picture in there because it was around the same time that I was butchering. I was always active, always training. And then one day I just started thinking, like, I actually love training so much. What if I got into personal training? So that's what I did. I went and got taught in personal training, and I became a personal trainer. And then after butchering, after 8 years, I left butchering to become a personal trainer for 6 years. And in those 6 years, that was almost like a step from what was the status quo, what was the normal, to this bit more out there kind of job where I know I'm going to be, not doing what I thought I would be doing. Like, oh, I wouldn't be a personal trainer. That wouldn't happen to me. But here I am doing it. So I was a personal trainer for 6 years. I met a lot of amazing people. I met so many incredible individuals and got to have a lot of great experiences, which I absolutely love and adore, and I think back on very, very fondly. That was until I started meeting more and more people, when I was like, I can see these people who I'm meeting, they're actually going out there, and just some individuals were going out there and chasing their dream. Like some people were like, hey, I wanted to go and travel to this country and this world, and I did it. And I was like, oh, that's so great. I wish I could do that. I so wish I could do that. But, I can't afford it, or whatever my excuse was at the time. And that was basically my belief throughout my entire 20s. So I'm 31 now. And at 31, I've completely jumped onto a whole new path. But to finish up so when I got to the end of personal training, the reason that I wanted to quit personal training was because I was having a gym session one day, and unfortunately, during one of my lifts, I was lifting a 100 kilogram barbell above my head, and I dislocated my knee. And when I just dislocated my knee, my entire perspective on things, everything changed from there. So I was in hospital. I had to get the operations to get my ACL, my MCL repaired, and that was a horrible, horrible time. On the other side of that, I remember I spoke to one of my really good friends, actually Lockie Stewart, who I mentioned in my previous episodes, and he asked me a question that I'll always remember. He said, "I want you to explain to me or tell me your ideal day. Don't blurt it out. Go and get a pen, get a piece of paper, sorry, and write it out." And that's what I did. I went and got a piece of paper and I wrote out my exact ideal day. And I still remember I wrote, got to get up in the morning, I got to go train with friends or wherever, and I got to go to a job where I was creative, I was able to be outgoing, and I was able to express myself in a really interesting way. Anyway, and then when I gave it back to him, we started discussing it, breaking it down. That's when we started to realize why don't you try filmmaking? And that's when I confessed, I've always loved filmmaking. I wasn't to be a director, and I actually think I want to chase that. And he goes, mate, if you don't, then you'll never do it because you've been through this incredible life-changing experience, and you need to, yeah, go do that. So I did it. So I left where I was living, and I came down to work as a personal trainer here in Brisbane, as I mentioned in my previous episodes. And I put myself through film school, and I graduated 3 weeks ago, and it was great. I've loved it. That whole experience was what got me as far away from the belief of people like me don't do stuff like that. We don't, from where I'm from, we don't do that. So I got as further away from that belief or that ideology in myself as I possibly could at the time. Now, when I got into film school, when you get into film school, that's when you realize you know basically nothing about film. You pretty much get told like you actually aren't as educated in film as you thought you were, and it was great. I got to learn everything that I wanted to learn, and I got to learn it in my own way, in my own pathway, and everything about it happened for a great reason. And here I am on the other side, and ready and passionate to share my own stories. Now, it wasn't until one weekend 4 weeks ago. On that weekend, I was laying down, and I remember I came across this reel by Josiah X. And that's when I saw that video, and it changed everything. It just changed completely this switch in my mind. It made me just go, that's it. I'm no longer going to be the kind of person who says, I wish I could do that, and I'm going to go chase that. Because the first thing I said when I watched that video, I wish I could do that. I wish I could animate that video, or I wish I could have the creativity and the freedom to get out with my friends or whoever, my brother or whoever, and go and animate some lightsabers with some TIE fighters and X-Wings flying around, or whatever my heart desired. And so much of what I wanted to create, specifically, I was like, I would love it if I had a VFX artist or knowledge, or if I could create something like that. I got up and I researched it, and I had the conversation with ChatGPT about how long it would take to learn VFX. And basically, I thought, why am I even researching this? This is the most pointless question. How long does it take to learn VFX? Because that's the most pointless question. It could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could take 2 years, whatever you want. And I've been seeing a lot through my research. People are like, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm still learning stuff, which I find fascinating, which I find amazing. So I thought to myself, all right, and I gave myself my new mantra, my new motto, which is may as well because time's going to go past anyway. And I thought this would be so much fun that while I'm learning VFX, I started the YouTube channel and I got to document it to see where I go from my first video 2 weeks ago to a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, where I will be and what I'll be doing. And that is the most exciting thing that I felt in a very long time. So with this video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to share the absolute passion and fire that the last couple of weeks have given me from learning VFX and starting this journey and putting together really fun, tangible programs and tutorials and learning courses and channels to follow and projects to write and aspire to, because one day I know I'll have the skills to actually do that, and just sharing in that hype and excitement and that possibility. And it's been the most exciting and passionate and fire-driven time that I've felt for forever. So, and what made it even more exciting was the challenge of YouTube. And here I am. And this is actually like my seventh or eighth take on this video because I could not get this out. I was feeling incredibly tongue twisted for some reason with this video. Yeah, so what I wanted to do, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker my whole life. And I took a long time to get from there when I was a young boy to now at 31 years old to stop buggering around, to stop messing around and wasting my time, and to chase what I want to do. And I've never been so clear with what I want to do. I cannot express to you how clear it is that when you find that thing that ignites your passion, it's like what Robert Greene said. He said that when you find your passion or your life's task, you will create the energy to do it. You won't let anything get in the way. You won't let it falter. You won't let it flicker. You will find the energy and you will do it. And that's what I've done. So I've been spending so much time, like I spent all weekend animating and rendering and learning and finding more courses and getting excited, getting hyped up, which has been the most fun. Up until recently, I still felt I was holding back a little bit. I was always holding back. And that was because I wasn't incredibly convinced that I could do it. Then I kept thinking, you know what? No art or nothing like that has to be perfect when you first start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get started, because who knows how long it'll take you to get to where you deem or where you might feel that this is the art that I've always wanted to do. As long as you start, just start, because this has been the best 3 weeks of learning VFX and Blender, and it's been so exciting, and it's given me so much more goals to work towards and so many more exciting things that I want to build and talk about and explore and learn. And it's just given me so much passion and purpose, which I cannot wait to unfold. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. And this has been just a bit of an update, bit of a straightforward talk, and a bit more about me and where I've come from and how I got to here. And again, all I hope is that this inspires just at least one person to start. And even if you don't watch this video, when it first comes out, like tomorrow or a year from now, or however long it takes this video to get around to you, who's watching this right now, I just hope it gets to you. I'll leave it there. Have a great night. I know it's going to be Tuesday in Australia when I post this, but it'll be, not Tuesday in Australia when other people watch this. And I'll see you in the next one.